Trump's tariffs create global chaos. Markets on alert, August 1st. The self-imposed deadline for President Donald Trump's new tariff plan has become a day of global financial chaos. The drastic new import duties, ranging from 10% to 41%, have shaken dozens of countries, causing dramatic market shifts and a climate of widespread uncertainty. In a seemingly contradictory move, the US dollar has shown unexpected strength, hitting a 2-month high. Analysts suggest that investors are betting that this tariff policy will be inflationary, which could make it difficult for the US Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, a factor that traditionally supports the dollar. However, the rest of the world has not shared this optimism. The Canadian dollar plummeted to a 10-week low after a new 35% tariff was imposed on its goods. The South African rand also hit a 2-month low. Global stock markets have been affected with significant drops in Europe, including a fall of over 2% in Paris's CAC index. In Asia, the sharpest decline was in South Korea, where the Kospi index plunged 3.9%. Even futures for major U.S. indexes like the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq point to a negative opening, signaling a difficult day for Wall Street. Trump's tariffs were announced just hours before the deadline. A universal 10% tariff will apply to countries with a trade surplus with the U.S., while countries with a deficit will face tariffs of at least 15%. Among the hardest-hit countries are Switzerland, with a 39% tariff, and Canada, with a 35% tariff, justified by Trump for alleged failures in controlling fentanyl smuggling. India also faces a 25% tariff, and the European Union a baseline of 15% on most of its goods. Despite the turmoil, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer insists that the measures are not about punishment but about protecting American interests. However, the uncertainty is already affecting the economy. Companies have put hiring on hold, contributing to a slowdown in the U.S. labor market. Employers added only 73,000 new jobs in July, well below expectations. Amid this backdrop, the Federal Reserve, led by Jerome Powell, remains firm. Despite continuous attacks from President Trump, who called him a stubborn moron, Powell has made it clear that he will not cut interest rates until he fully assesses the impact of these tariffs on inflation and the job market. The unemployment rate, which rose to 4.2% in July, will be a key number for the central bank to watch. The implementation of these tariffs marks a significant escalation in Trump's trade policies, creating a situation of global chaos that nations and markets alike will have to contend with in the coming months. Money